The fusion of culture, the beauty of architecture, the flavors of mouth-watering food is what is Mtwapa, a cultural town in Kilifi County. Here, Swahili is not just a language, it's a way of life, a way of existing built on a foundation of a rich culture. Jumba la Mtwana is an essential part of the Mtwapa Swahili culture, having been a landmark area in the intermingling of the Arab traders and the natives of Mtwapa. Jumba la Mtwana is a historical and archaeological site on the coast of the Indian Ocean of Kenya. Situated close to the Mtwapa Creek in Kilifi County, north of Mombasa, the ancient stone town was gazetted in 1982 as a national monument legally protected under Antiquities and Monuments Act.
So when we are talking about Jumba la Mtwana basically means a large house of slaves. When you are talking about slavery in this place, it doesn't necessarily mean taking human beings as a trade commodity. It's taking human beings as a source of labor, specifically in this place.
The ruins of this small, quaint, ancient coastal town were dated back to the 14th century when the settlement was first built by Arabs. But how did this age-old town come to be?
So Jumba la Mtwana is a settlement area that was established in 14th century, that is in 1350s, by some Arabs that were sailing along the East African coast, mainly for trade purposes. Yeah, and this is not the first place that the Arabs settled. Probably there are other places that they settled in the coast. So these people came and noticed this area, Jumba la Mtwana, and they decided to live here because of many factors. One of the main factors is that these people were sailing purposely for trade, so they had to look for trade items. And one of the trade items was ambergris. Okay, ambergris, you see the whale from the ocean, is something that they puke. Now that puke is what we call ambergris. And ambergris can be used to make very expensive perfumes and spices. Another reason is that this place is near a beach, and we say a beach is a coral reef. Now these corals pile themselves under the ocean to form a sort of a wall or a block. Now with that block, there's no any ship that can harbor beyond that reef. It was a factor in that there's no any foreign enemy that would attack these people. In case there is an enemy attacking them, they would see the enemy from afar and come and prepare themselves. Another factor is that at those times, that is 14th century, we are at the 21st century. So at that time, the water at the coastline had not become that saline like it is nowadays. So these people managed to dig some wells in the ruins, we will see them, and those wells provided fresh water.
Since the settlement is centuries old, many structures have been dilapidated over time. There are, however, some recognizable structures amongst these ruins. They have been named for easy identification depending on the remains found.
So we have the House of the Cylinder. It's called House of Cylinder simply because it has the two cylinders over here. That was not the initial name from the Arabs. Actually, this was a toilet at that time. We have a pit latrine over here. Yeah. And so as we know, Arabs, most of them are Muslims. And Muslims don't use toiletries, things like tissues and stuff. So in that cistern, that is where they used to put water. And then after they finish their work over there, they come and squat on these two pillars and then clean themselves. They scoop water from that cistern and then wash themselves. And now we have the House of Kitchen. It's simply called the House of Kitchen because in this place, this is where excavation was done in 1972 by a man called James Kirkman. He's an Englishman, but he used to live in Zanzibar. Now, after they did their excavation in this place, they found remains of pots and remains of Chinese porcelains. And they concluded that this place might have been a kitchen at that time. That's why we call it the house of kitchen. This is the house of many doors, simply called house of many doors because it has many doors, as you can see. This one, we have another one there. There's a door. Yeah, it has many doors. So the story behind this structure is that this structure was a house of a sultan, their elder. Now that is why we have its rooms bigger than the other rooms we've seen there. Yeah. And so if this house was a sultan's house, we have some other small rooms right there. That is where the sultan would enclose his slaves, from that small rooms there. Yeah, and the reason why he's enclosing them near him or near his house is to feel the sense of wealth.
The ruins here give a history of more than 1,000 people who lived here. These people are believed to have been Muslim because of the presence of several mosques.
Near every mosque in these ruins we have a well, and it is purposely for ablution. Ablution is, you see, Muslims, before they enter the mosque for prayers, they have to wash themselves, wash the feet, the hands, and the face. That is what we call ablution. So they fetch water from the well, and then probably their assistants somewhere there put the water there, and then, okay, in Swahili we call it kutawathi. So wanatawatha from that point, and then they enter the mosque. Now, when you look at this mosque, it's small in size, and that's why we call it a small mosque. You can ask, if this mosque is this small, did everyone really fit in this mosque? Okay, we usually say that this mosque might have been the mosque of the Sultan. The Sultan is their elder. So this is where the Sultan would come with his family and pray from this point.
Can you hear me? Now that is just a simple illustration of how the Imam used to call worshippers into the mosque. Now this shaped curve of the Qibla helps to do that. It helps to echo sound back to the worshippers so they can come in and pray. Right here are 5 pillars which represent the number of times, 5 times, that Muslims are expected to pray in a day. A few steps away from the public mosque is the graveyard. On this tombstone are words engraved in Arabic.
So this is a tomb with an inscription, and the inscription is written in this tablet over here. It's written in Arabic. It has a lot of words with a lot of meaning, but we managed to get just a few words and translated it. So in English they simply say, every living soul shall experience death. Yeah, and then we have this hole here. We call it a hole. Yeah, we have this hole here. Muslims also believe in life after death, just like the Christians. So this hole simply signifies death. So for you to experience life after death, you have to live first, then die, and now experience life after death. That is here in the graveyard. Yeah.
Not only is Jumba la Mtwana a historical place, it is also a scenic tourist destination. From the antiquity of the artifacts in the gallery to the jolly sounds of the ocean waves down south, this ruined village stretches for about 300 meters along the shores of Indian Ocean. But that is not all that sets it apart. The wide range of exotic and indigenous tree species are not just a sight for voyagers' sore eyes. They have infinite uses, including medicinal purposes for the locals here.